Let's talk about consumerism today. So consumerism at its core is not bad. I am very grateful for a lot of parts of it. So I'm grateful that in America, where I am right now, I am able to go out to a store and basically get anything that I could possibly need. How grateful is that? Like, I can go get the food I need. I can go get clothing I need. I can get basically anything that I need at this moment right now. And while that's such a beautiful thing and curbs a lot of anxiety, I'm sure people who don't have that opportunity have, I also know that there is a very dark part of consumerism, and I only know it because I've experienced it myself. So when I was first starting on my minimalist journey several years ago, I really didn't know where to start. So I started decluttering. I think that's where most of us start. I watched The Minimalist on Netflix and their whole series, which was beautiful. And I just thought, I'm going to be like them. It's going to be perfect. I'm going to live so simply. My life is going to be so peaceful. Awesome. Anyway, while they were making that documentary, they did not have a significant other, I think. And they also didn't have any children. So we were never going to be exactly the same anyway. And that's totally fine. There's never two people that are exactly the same, in my opinion. So anyway, I am decluttering. And as it's going on, my husband is getting more and more frustrated. And I'm thinking, how rude. Like, I am doing such a good thing here. I am decluttering. I am going to live a simpler life. We're going to save money. You should be so grateful for what I'm doing. And now looking back, I remember there was this pinnacle moment that Jordan really hurt my feelings. And he said that I either need to stop decluttering and just enjoy the things I have, or I need to declutter and stop bringing more things in. And man, did that sting. It really hurt my feelings. And if you've ever had that experience with somebody telling you that, then you know what I'm talking about. But he was right. And so several days later, with a lot of thinking about what he said, I decided that he was right and that I needed to make a change that was bigger than what I was doing. You can't just declutter and then bring things in and think you're going to live a minimalist, peaceful life, because it's just not going to happen. Now, things are still going to come in, and they do, and I will buy new things. I'm not afraid to buy new things. But at the rate that I was decluttering, I was just replacing things very quickly to fill those holes. There was a big problem with what I was doing because I didn't feel comfortable in empty spaces yet. And I think that is something that if you're first starting your journey, it's something that's really hard when society is telling us in, pictures in magazines and online that our homes need to look a certain way, need to be full of decor and full of things. And then we're trying to change and we're trying to live with less things, to have more peace, to have more ease in cleaning and taking care of things and make our life a little easier. It's a big mind shift change. At least it was for me when I first started. So consumerism had its claws in me very deep, and it did take me a while to get out of it. But now that I look back, there's so many things about consumerism that were not healthy for me at the time. And so one of them was just that consumerism has such an effect on your money. And when you are buying things way beyond what you can afford, you get into credit card debt, which leads to more debt because credit cards are vicious. We just had an experience, not exactly like this, but I always pay the credit card bill, and I had COVID for 3 weeks. It was awful. And so because I was so sick, I didn't think about paying the bill. And because I'm the one that always does it, Jordan just didn't even think about it. And so we were late by 2 days or something. And so they charged us $75 for a late fee. And luckily, my husband is a huge advocate for us. And so he emailed them and he's like, absolutely not. We're not paying this. We always pay off our credit card bill every month. My wife was really sick and I should have looked at it, but blah, blah, blah. And so they did end up refunding us. And it really made me think wow, what are those people doing that are just paying the minimum and getting all this interest or not being able to pay the minimum, and then you're getting charged $75 every month for not paying. And that is the sad and scary part of consumerism, because our society says that we need these things, and so we go buy them, but we never had a plan for where that money was going. And then the money is gone, and then we don't even realize it's gone because we're all using credit cards now. Now, I have nothing against credit cards. I really like ours because we have been very mindful of getting the ones that help with airline points. But what I will say is that when we first started, I actually used cash. And that was because I had zero self-control. And so creating a budget helped me not go back into my buy everything in sight consumerist mindset. So if you're having a really hard time and you're using credit cards, doing a cash budget at least for a month might really help you to kind of back up and see. When you see that physical money, it really helped my brain make the connections on how much money I was really spending. And now we're just very mindful, except for this last month when we forgot to pay it, but we're very mindful of, we have a budget each week and we kind of talk about how much money we're spending. But really the other dark side of consumerism is just, I mean, how many marriages end in divorce because of money? That's what blows my mind. It's not that there was infidelity. It's not that there was just plain unhappiness or people just grew out of the relationship, but it's money. And I'm going to look up the percentage, but I've seen it before and it's a ridiculously high amount of people getting divorced because of money. And that's so sad because it's not, exactly their fault always. It's our society telling them that they needed a bigger house. They needed extravagant vacations they couldn't afford. They needed cars and bikes and clothes and jewelry that they couldn't afford, but they were, trying to keep up with the Joneses. And the other hard thing is that now, because of the internet and because of TikTok and Instagram and all the rest, you have the ability to see all these people that are rich and famous, and you think, why can't I have that? And so if that's what our young people or what we're going after, it's not attainable. Not everyone is going to be able to drive a Bentley, and that's okay. I think in our society, we're told that that's not, you need that Land Rover. Is that what it's called? That Land Rover in your driveway. But really, if that stops you from the peace of living a simpler life, or that stops you from being able to spend time with your children, or it stops you from chasing after a new dream that you might have of quitting your job and trying something totally different, was it really worth it? That you have these four wheels that can drive you around when you could have had a much cheaper set of four wheels that could also drive you around? I don't know. It really has me thinking. Like, even my car now, I have a Hyundai Tucson, which I do not recommend. Do not recommend. I got it before Carrie-Ann was born, so before I started any of this journey. And we have it paid off, and I guess about a year ago, we've had so many freaking issues with my car. And luckily, they've all been paid for because it was Tucson's fault. Like, I had to get a brand new engine, and it was $15,000, and luckily it was under warranty still, so they had to pay for it because that car is not worth $15,000. But Jordan's like talking about getting me a new car, and I was, kind of feeding into it because I really don't like my car. And I was like, well, I'd like a maybe a small hybrid or a small all-electric car. I think that'd be really cool. But if I had actually bought it, guess what I wouldn't be doing right now? I wouldn't have been able to quit my full-time job and do YouTube because I don't make enough on YouTube. If you ever want to do a little donation, they're down below because I make basically nothing on YouTube. I have to scrounge and save, but it's something I really enjoy. I love hearing stories from you guys about how something I've said has really impacted you. Like, it blows my mind that this journey that I'm on through minimalism and learning and growing can impact somebody else. I mean, that still blows my mind. But anyway, if I had bought that car, guess what I wouldn't be doing? I wouldn't be doing this, and I would have to keep working. And so thinking of your decisions in the wider aspect, if you are unhappy with your job, buying yourself something right now is not going to fix that. You have to think of what is going to be the next job that I want. What is something that I would like to chase? I would actually love to live in a tiny home. Right now, my husband won't let us live in a tiny home, and there are some other things that would stop us from doing that. But I mean, I'd either love to live in a tiny home or move to Europe. Like, I have big dreams. But, you know, buying a new car or trying to get a bigger house or buying things that are very expensive pieces of jewelry are not going to get me any closer to what my life goal is. I think so often we get stuck in what our monetary goal is or what we want to look like on the outside to other people. We get stuck on that look. We want to have an impact on other people with the look that we might have or what we're presenting to the world. But really, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know, what people think of you. What matters is that you're chasing after what you want to do, what your goal is in the end. And you're being able to spend time with people that you love, because we never really know, you know, how long we're going to have with anybody. And so taking that precious time to really enjoy those people around us instead of wasting so much of our time on things that cost a lot of money, and so then we have to waste more time. All right, guys, I finally got this leg. All right, so finally, I know this is like the rambling of a crazy lady, but finally, I just wanted to talk about how I feel like in my life in particular, and let me know if this relates to you. Always put a little heart emoji down below. It makes me so happy when I see them, because I do feel like we're in this together, but I had such a hard time with the loss of meaning of things. And what I mean by that is, you know, I would buy so much that I would have things hanging in my closet for, you know, days and months without ever wearing them. I would sell things before I even took the tags off. I would immediately want something new the next day after I got something new, and I was constantly buying things on Amazon over and over and over again. And when you do that, nothing is meaningful. When you are much more conscious about what you're buying and you buy a lot slower, what I will say about that is that the things that you do end up getting have a lot more meaning to them. They're much more powerful, because you see how that object immediately changes and hopefully improves your life. If you have bags and bags and boxes and closets full of things, nothing has meaning anymore. When I was getting rid of a lot of things, I mean, bags of clothes I would get rid of. And I could have gotten, I think I spent weeks getting rid of clothes. That's how many clothes I had. None of them had any meaning. And now I look back and some of the clothes, I'm like, oh, that was really cute. Why did I get rid of that? It was because nothing had meaning to me. There was no special thing in my closet that I really liked, because I had too much to really have any feeling about anything. And I feel like most of us can relate to that. When we have so many things in our life, doesn't really matter what it is, books, jewelry, shoes, there might be one thing that you really like in there, but it's so hidden by all the rest that nothing has any meaning to it. I was listening to this one famous comedian, and he was talking about, he had a Land Rover that he had bought when he first got famous, like over 20 years ago. And then he also had just one small other car that he rode in all of the time. He said he only kept the Land Rover because it reminded him that things in the moment feel like they're going to have a big impact and have a lot of meaning and have a big momentous moment for you. But that fades. And how impactful is that? Oh my gosh, like I almost cried when he said it. Because it does. When it's an object, when it's something that you just, bought in the spur of the moment, that feeling of excitement fades. How quickly does it fade? The next time you go out and buy something and you're excited about it, I want you to think about how quickly it fades, that excitement of it. Because it fades very quickly when you have too much. But he said he kept that car because it reminded him that objects cannot bring me happiness, that things can't bring me happiness, that getting that Land Rover was very exciting for about a month, and then it had no meaning anymore. And I can definitely say I relate about the car thing, because I was so excited about getting that car. I was so excited to buy my own car. It was the first time I'd ever bought my own car. And now I hate it. Now it is a thorn in my side, and it has been for years. So how quickly that meaning changes, the novelty fades so quickly. And I think if you look in your closet and you have hundreds and hundreds of pieces of clothing, then you probably can understand what I'm talking about. All right, friends. So let's end this on a happy note. I will say that, there's nothing wrong with consumerism. I am so grateful that we have the ability to buy the things that we need, because there are lots of people out there that can't. And I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to live in a nice home where I am warm. I have a car that I can drive when I need to, doesn't break down. And I have shoes on my feet. I have clothes on my body. I can have animals like my dogs that I can take care of. I am so grateful for consumerism for that. But there is definitely a dark side of consumerism. And I think that's that loss of meaning. I think that's, marriages breaking up because they have too much financial stress on them. It's not being able to chase after your dreams because you bought 30 pairs of jeans, or you bought a super expensive vacation that you couldn't afford. And so now you can never quit that job that you hate. I think it's letting your dreams take a back seat to jewelry and shoes, because these things, though, in the moment might not cost that much. If you're just buying a bunch of, jeans or tchotchke jewelry, they might not cost that much, but everything has more than a monetary value as well. Now you have to figure out what you're going to do with it when you don't want it anymore. Now you have to store it. So thinking about the things that we have, that we consume, have more than just a monetary value. And if the object is worth that time in your life that you're going to have to take care of it, that effort in your life that you're going to have to take care of it, that time that you have to spend in order to make that money, if it's worth it, then you're doing the right thing. Then you're making the right decision. But if it's not, this is the dark side of consumerism. And this is what I'm hoping we can all get a little bit better at in 2024, is just identifying the things that have meaning and the things that don't. All right, friends. I hope you enjoy this beautiful afternoon, and I will see you guys again on Tuesday for our big Take It Back Tuesday decluttering day. All right, I'll see you soon.